G'day guys, kia ora, my name is Wildkard. Thank you for watching the Wildkard Rugby Show. Like, comment and subscribe. And yes, the greatest rugby tournament in the history of the world, the Rugby Championship, is underway. And a magnificent games all around this weekend. The mighty All Blacks faced off against the hungry out for blood Argentinian side. And wow, got the job done in a very tough but convincing fashion out there tonight. And this has left with the big elephant in the room that we all need to, uncomfortably talk about, and that is Scotty Barrett and his captaincy as the All Blacks captain. I have talked about this for quite some time now since Super Rugby. I felt that Ardie Savea is just the better captain. At this point of his career, he's inspirational. He understands the game. He has a better feel for what's happening in the game, and he has a better feel on what's happening, the energy level, I guess, for the players around him. And something that I just don't think that Scotty is able to grasp, given whilst whilst out there on the field. And I think that because of that ability for Ardie Savea to assess where his own player is at, where his team is at, where the opposition is at, to get that that intangible feeling of the energy levels, making the right decisions at the right times, is, I think, just really stand out tonight as the better captain over Scotty Barrett. The commentary was, there was one point where in the second half, about maybe 10, 15 minutes left, the scoreboard was still pretty close. It was about, the All Blacks was about 7 points behind. They had a penalty, and the All Blacks had a yellow card at that time. So they were playing with only 14 players. The commentary, everybody was like, probably should take the 3. And I was like, no, the All Blacks has the momentum, has the ascendancy. If they're taking the 3, this would have been a kind of like letting off for the Pumas, despite having a play in the beam. Sure enough, Ardie Savea identified that momentum that the All Blacks had and understood the game, how the game should be played. Is that the fact that you have 14 players, it's easier to attack than to defend, and you're also taking away time and opportunities for the Pumas to play rugby. So he decided to go for the lineouts and ended up with a blowout gap to finish off the game, and just really put the Pumas in a spot where they were not able to come back at all. Whereas if he had taken the 3, right, not only that the Pumas will have maybe about a minute left to play against 14 players to try to score back on a return opportunity, but also it just puts the pressure back on themselves immediately for the All Blacks and taking away all that forward momentum they were having at that point of the game. So I think that, and that's something that I think Scotty Barrett has failed to grasp throughout his career as the All Blacks captain. And Ardie Savea immediately showed his understanding of the game, his understanding of his players, has a better connection with the players around him. And I think that there is a definite case to be made for the Ardie Savea to replace Scotty Barrett as the captain for the All Blacks. And, even the commentators were surprised. Oh my God, he decided to go for the line out, and they actually worked. Believe it or not. Wanting to play rugby, wanting to assert dominance, actually turned out winning the game for you. Wow, what a surprise to Justin Marshall and everybody in commentary there. But it is just what the captain needs to do. It is something that I talk about a lot in my previous videos. Richie McCaw used to understand. If you go back and watch in the golden age of the All Blacks, back when Richie McCaw was the captain, if they get a yellow card down to 14 players, they usually go attack mode. The All Blacks goes up a level when they're down to 14 players. They don't go into their shells and start kicking penalty goals. They go up a level and try to score tries against you with 14 players on the field. That's how the All Blacks mentally prepared themselves in the past, and that's something that the All Blacks has lost in recent years. And I think that Ardie Savea showed they can still do that. They can still bring back some of that mentality, some of that, that mental fortitude, the resiliency that the players had in the past, are back, injecting some of that back into the team. And I thought was outstanding decision making by Ardie Savea, outstanding finish to a very tough test match, and great result for the All Blacks. And I think that the Scotty Barrett, in fact, right away kicking the penalty goal immediately from from a free penalty. I have no problem with you kicking penalty goals, right? Like if you actually worked and then ended up in a stalemate, you tested the defense, you couldn't really get through, and you wanted to take something away for your visit. For a prolonged visit into the opposition 20, the opposition half, sure, you can take a penalty. Literally, the first penalty was like, there was an offside or something. The All Blacks just got completely handed a freebie, and Scotty Barrett was more than happy to decide to take the 3. And that, that mentality slowly changed over the game. And when Ardie Savea took the captaincy in the second half, there was a clear shift to we wanted to finish off the game. We wanted to finish strong against all odds. 14 player on the field, does not matter. We will finish strong and we will demolish you. And that's number one. And number two, it was really, again, this performance from, especially the second half when Ardie Savea was on the field, was not just a physical and, speed or whatever, or anything that you can describe the performance prowess of a team. This was also a second half, showed a lot of intelligence from the All Blacks. Something, again, I felt has been missing for quite some time since the Golden Era, is the fact that the All Blacks realized that the Pumas was not able to defend them all. And they just relentlessly abused that to finish off the game with a commanding win, commanding more tries at the end to really punish. It was literally like so ruthless, beating someone, when they're already down, and then just finish him off completely. And that's, again, just the intelligence, the Ardie Savea's ability to recognize, hey, there is a weakness here we can exploit, and they ruthlessly took that opportunity and exploited and yielded an absolutely outstanding result as well. So again, on that front, I feel like not only that, it's Ardie Savea makes the better decision in terms of, getting a better feel of the state of the game, but he also makes a smarter decision than Scotty Barrett out there in terms of how we want to approach the game to win, to find that victory path, that path, they talk about the pathway to victory, to finding that pathway, finding that correct option to win the game. And I felt that that's also probably more important than just, deciding to not kick penalty goals out there. So this was, I have to say, to be honest, was kind of like a Springboks-esque style of finish, finding your weakness and just really squeezing it, and then, just until you cannot, handle anymore. And that was absolutely outstanding from the All Blacks to finish off the game tonight. And for the Argentinians, I wouldn't be too disappointing. I mean, obviously the set piece is a bit of a problem. They do play with a lot of passion. They had opportunities, putting the All Blacks in the back end, and it was, and the All Blacks were giving away penalties, yellow cards, whatnot, to try and hold on. And the Pumas play some tantalizing rugby out of 10, especially Alberno's, some that the magic that is showing. Again, every time I watch this guy, he's getting better and better as a fly half. And to show that against the All Blacks is just, taking another step up as well in his own personal development. And I think the Pumas should not be too disappointing. This was definitely better than what they had shown against England. More passion, more, I guess, more accuracy as well, but just not really quite to get there in terms of the set piece. Something that I feel like the Pumas has always been very inconsistent when it comes to set piece, and also discipline, very inconsistent in those two areas. When they are good, they're like a world-class team. When they're like, struggling, they're suddenly, looking at they're tripping over themselves a little bit. So definitely some work to do for Felipe Contempomi in terms of for the team. But this was by no way, shape, or form a regrettable performance from the Los Pumas out there tonight. So yeah, with that being said, let's have a look at the match stats of the game. 3 tries to 6 to the Argentinians. 340 run meters to the All Blacks 309. Actually ran the ball more often, more carries, so they actually play more rugby out there. The Argentinians. If the All Blacks didn't find that loop, that weakness in the more, the Argentinians could be a different finish to the game as we were looking at it as well. If it wasn't for the more, seriously, the All Blacks probably wouldn't have scored any tries at the end, and the Argentinians probably had some opportunities there to close out the game much more, in a potential upset there, to be really frank with you. 13 turnovers conceded against Argentina, 13 against the All Blacks as well. 135 tackles from Argentina, 17 missed tackles. Some really good defense, Argentina. The All Blacks had to resort to the maul because they couldn't break through with a running attack. Really, really well done. The All Blacks had 25 missed tackles themselves out of 155. So the All Blacks actually had poorer defense than the Argentinians. Kicks in play, 22 for Argentina, 28 for the All Blacks. 2 goal kick missed for Bowden. There was 1 penalty missed by Albernos. 519 kicks missed for Argentina. 819 for the All Blacks. Really like abused that kicking game a little bit for the All Blacks, but still wasn't enough to really, get that. Yeah, it wasn't enough. It really had to resort back to the fundamentals of the rolling maul to close this one out for them. Lineouts 14 for Argentina, 3 lost. 15 for the All Blacks, no loss. Big improvement for the All Blacks. Had a struggle with the lineout quite a little bit in recent times. Scrums, 1 loss for each side, 6 for Argentina overall, 4 for the All Blacks. I thought the All Blacks had a slightly better scrum, especially in the first half. But in the second half, definitely looks a little bit 50-50 for the both team. But I think overall the All Blacks had the dominance in the scrummaging front in terms of getting a little bit more out of it. Penalties conceded 12 apiece. 1 yellow card for Argentina for this was a stupid one. Vivas, he just like in the rack slapped the ball out of the hand from the halfback. He couldn't resist it, and then just right in front of the referee. No argue, yellow card there. The All Blacks yellow cards were a little bit more, a little bit more less, I guess, forgiving. There was 1 repeated penalty right in front of the goal line where the player, I think, who was it that tackled Matera offside and got a yellow card. Who was it? That was Billy Proctor. I think it was Billy Proctor. And then Anton Leonard-Brown, head-on-head, contact, high tackle. He might get cited for that, to be honest. High tackle, and on a play, Chaco Barras, and Chaco Barras didn't even have the ball. So not only was a high shot, upright, head-on-head, but also Chaco Barras didn't have the ball. So definitely deserve a yellow card there. I saw it potentially cited for an upgrade to a red card. We'll have to wait and see if that does get cited or not. But yeah, discipline has been an issue for the All Blacks throughout the game. Like something that they, Scotty Robinson will have to have a look at in training next week, I guess. So let's do a quick recap of the game. Yes, so yeah, immediately the All Blacks had an early penalty. Like, I thought this was just a freebie. It was like the All Blacks didn't really work for it at all. It was just, I think it was, what was it? I think it was what was it? It was like offside or something. It was just a freebie, like a complete accidental thing. And then the All Blacks was happy to take the 3. I didn't like that. But then 6 minutes in, the Argentina had a penalty. They missed, hit the goalpost. 8 minutes in, the All Blacks finally backed themselves for a penalty, one for the 5-meter line out. The crash really close, and eventually the ball went wide to save Reese, dunked into the corner, 10 points to 0. 50 minutes into the game, the Argentina built back themselves from their own line out. There was a nice little kick over the top. Choco Barras got the rebounds, and then the Pumas piled in afterwards. Penalty advantage. The ball went out wide to Isco, winning for the try. 7 points to 10 to Argentina. 17 minutes in the event. Vivas slapped the ball down from the halfback's hand. Yellow card. 23 minutes into the game. There was a Will Jordan got the ball. 1-on-1. Just defensive mistake from the Pumas. He stepped the defender on the inside and then ran through, linked up with Cortez Ratama for the try. So Pumas, when they had the yellow card, they had a prop send off, and instead of taking off a forward to fill in for the prop because they need to have a prop on the field, they actually took off the winger. So that may have led to a potential gap in the defensive here for the All Blacks to exploit. 17 points to 7. All Blacks taking back the lead. 20 minutes in the end, Rico Ioane tackled a player without a ball. I thought this was a tough call. The player dropped the ball. He didn't actually and then Rico tackled him. So he didn't actually it's not like he never had the ball. He dropped the ball before the tackle. So I feel like this was a tough call. But Argentina kicked 3 points, 10 points to 17. 37 minutes of the game, there was the All Blacks went for the line out. They went for the maul. The ball crashed through, I think it was. Yeah. What was it? I think what happened? There was But then there was a run through, and then Adi Savia winning for the try, 10 points to 24 for the All Blacks. And just before halftime, in typical All Blacks fashion, they talk about finishing the game strong in both 10 minutes in the start and in between the halftime. So they had a penalty, could have kicked 3. They went for the line out. They were, and then they just, they build up pressure midfield. The ball eventually went wide again to Sekou Reece, winning for the try. 31 points to 10 going into halftime. Second half starts, 50 minutes in, the Argentina gets the first try on the ball for the second half. There was a scrum, the number 9 got the ball. Then he finds number 10, Albernos, at running a nice angle, and a bunch of the All Blacks defense were just drifting wide, and everybody was just like, stumbling backwards. And then Albernos went through for the try, 17 points to 31. 58 minutes in the game, Billy Proctor got sent off a yellow card after tackling, in an offside position on Materas. And then Argentina just build from this yellow card. They didn't take the 3, they build, they piled in, and then eventually through pure power and strength, Oviedo crashed over for the try, 24 points to 31. And at this point, it's looking like the All Blacks might be in a bit of trouble. They have yellow card in the bin, and then there are a lot of pressure on. There was a penalty given against the Argentina about 68, 67 minutes on the board. And then the All Blacks, instead of kicking 3, the commentators were like, let's kick 3. Instead of kicking 3, Adi Savia made the right decision. Went for the line out. 14 players, doesn't matter. They just crashed over Samasoni Takiaho from the line out play for the try. 24 points to 36. After this one, once again, the All Blacks starting to realize that the Pumas more isn't that good, so they just backed themselves to the more again. They had a penalty advantage. Instead of kicking 3, they went for the line out and then went for another more. Just walked it through for the try. Takiaho gets another one. 21 points to 41. Suddenly the scoreboard is out of reach. Going into the finish, Anton Leonard-Brown, 77 minutes, gets a yellow card for a high tackle, but that was the end of the story. So yeah, let me know your thoughts about this game. I thought there should be serious consideration for Adi Savia to take over as captain. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. Cheers.